Welcome to the Phoenix Prosperity Podcast, where wealth meets legacy. Join your host, Tim Fergestad, as we explore the journeys of Phoenix's finest to success and beyond.
Hello, everyone. This is Tim Fergestad. Thank you for joining us. Today's guest is Manikandan Chandran, technologist, entrepreneur, AI innovator, founder of BookMyIyer, author of Thinking in Toilet, and blending deep technical expertise with entrepreneurial thinking and human insight. Welcome to the show, Mani.
Yeah. Hi, Tim. Good morning. Thanks for having me in your podcast. It's a long pending item for me. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, excellent. I appreciate you coming on the show. So, why don't you give us a little bigger background there, because I glossed over some other stuff, some other entrepreneurial ventures you've had and companies you've done. So why don't you give people a little bit of a how you got here sort of story?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So I did my master's in computer application maybe in the year of 2010. I have overall around 16 years of experience with technology. So currently I'm working for a shipping and maritime company as a software engineer. So my, prior to that, when I was in India, so I had a couple of startups. The one is Incredible Technologies. We are developing mobile apps and websites for our customers, and I have a booking platform called BookMyIyer.com. So in India, we need a priest for rituals like housewarming or marriages. We need a priest, right? So I think somewhere around 2013, I started this booking platform, and I was the monopoly. And I'm thinking that I kind of monopoly. It's a unique area. Still, it is generating revenue. And so after I come US, I handed over those business to my sister family. Now my family is taking care of those business.
Okay. What was it about technology that hooked you early?
Yeah. So the thing, right? When I was doing my undergrad, so I started working as a freelancer. So to be frank, right, I was hunting for, I was struggling for my food. To pay my college fee. I was in real struggle, and some point of time I wanted to, sell my blood for paying my college fee. I gone through most difficult situation in my life, and the reason being here, because of technology. So without technology, I cannot imagine myself. So because of technology, I'm here, and so I see the stages, right? So 15 years before how the technology was, and now I see a lot of changes. So the agenda for today, the podcast, right? I like to share my experience to small business owners and how we can leverage AI for small business. That's my main agenda for today.
Okay. Yeah, please. I'm sure there's a lot in there. From hardcore software engineering to entrepreneurship, they both sort of shaped you. And can shape other people, right? That it seems to be that was your ticket to success. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, but do a lot of developers stay developers? What made you think more like a founder? Was it just necessity?
Yeah, exactly, right. So during my college days, so I was the breadwinner, right? So I like to, the thing, right? So a few of my friends, they were also struggling for their free food, but they were delivering newspapers, and they're delivering milk packets to house. But I did not want to do that. Instead of that, I started my freelancing. I started developing websites for small companies. So I started as a freelancer in maybe somewhere around 2007. So my target was to make money, but I had my own path. Instead of doing the newspaper delivery or those things, I wanted.
You sort of went with the white collar hustle.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And now the reason, right? Yeah. So now they're in the same situation. They're doing the same job now. But my profile, now I'm in better position since I chose the correct path.
Yeah. You took a stepping stone in the right direction, right?
Yeah.
Which is obviously a very smart move. My son, for example, is home from college, and he's an aerospace engineering student, and he's looking. This is his first summer, and the other ones he'll have internships and so forth in that field of study, which will help him grow there. But a lot of kids right now are, they go wash dishes in a restaurant or something, which is not going to help them get.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. Yeah, we can make money in multiple ways, right? But we'll have to choose our interests and the core path, right? So you'll have to choose wisely. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Before we move on, I want to talk a little bit more about BookMyIyer. It's a fascinating concept for me. It was because it modernized something that's deeply traditional, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
That was just out of necessity as well.
Yeah. So in India, right, people usually migrate from small towns to metro cities, and it is very hard to find a priest for the ceremonies like housewarming or marriages, right? So then I was thinking, and my family, we are into priests. And my father-in-law, my brother-in-law, they're priests. So I wanted to uplift their financial background. So I started this platform. And one point of time, I was getting more calls. I couldn't able to manage. Then I was thinking, why instead of making it as a family business, why don't I, establish? I made a priest network. Whenever I get called, then I will, assign priests to go there. So gradually it was expanding. Now I'm thinking about, I'm building a dashboard for, users. They can, they can generate their horoscope, astrology. I'm planning to, and we are leveraging AI. So now I'm presenting this BookMyIyer for the next generation here.
Okay. Did you face any resistance trying to digitize a cultural or religious service?
Not much. People, they're in need, right? So and it is not completely digital, right? The booking is happening through portal, and still we are sending the priest to the customer location, right? It is kind of booking platform. That's it, But our idea was to make through Skype or Zoom call, but I'm not the big fan of doing this rituals through online. So, but still, so we are doing only booking through online, and we are sending priests to customers' location. Yeah.
Okay. Throughout all the country. Is it international now? How does it work?
Now it is only with India. But my goal is like to establish across all countries. And the interesting thing, right? I started this company. I hired my first employee, and I was paying salary to him through my salary. X amount of my salary I reserved for an employee. I started my BookMyIyer with one employee, and the salary was, I was paying from my own salary. So, the why I'm telling, so everyone has their own commitments. We may have mortgage or education loans. We may have tight commitments. We may not able to achieve our dreams. So for that, what I did, so instead of I come out from my full-time job, I reserved some X amount for my future thoughts. I hired a person for me, and I was paying to him, and he was, developing all of my thoughts. And still I'm not in comfort zone. At one point of time, still I have a lot of commitments like mortgage. And once it is done, maybe I can be a full-time entrepreneur.
Okay, excellent. So. So you've started more than that company. You've started a couple of companies.
Yeah. Yes.
And you've worked across, I guess I'd call them microservices. I don't know, different cloud computing, machine learning, AI. What major shift of technology do you think people are underestimating the most at this point?
Yeah. So. Even 1 year before, I was, I know, maybe 2 years before, I was underestimating AI. Maybe I was thinking it's just a hype. It's not going to do much. I was thinking, but what I realized, this is a golden period for small business people, right? So, the reason, before that, I want to say one thing. AI will not replace humans, for sure. But if you're not learning AI, then we will be replaced with someone with AI skill.
Sure.
it's it is so AI is no more. It is not an optional. It is now mandatory, right? So I can give some examples, case studies, right? So assume 10 years before we are booking call taxis by calling some local operator, right, for taxis, and maybe after some years, Uber and Lyft, they migrated, they adapted the technology. Now all the taxi bookings happening through a cell phone, right? So I can track my driver, I can track
Yep.
my car review, how good the driver is. So I can track everything. So if we're not adapting the technology, then we'll be gone, right?
Right.
So, and this is one use case, and the other use case, right? So maybe I know there is no DVD rental shops nowadays. Netflix, Prime, everything is there. So there is no DVD shops nowadays. So, and hotel booking now, Airbnb is taking over, right? So it is mandatory to adopt the technology. Otherwise, we'll be gone. So either it's a small business or the bigger company. So we have to adopt the technologies. Otherwise, even though if we are a monopoly, then we have to adopt the technology. So coming to point, right? AI. So my agenda for today, right? How we can leverage AI. Now, I want to give back to this community. For especially for small business. I know, every month when I pay salary or paying my rent or electricity bill, I know the pain, right? So I want to give back to the small business community how we can leverage AI for their success. So that's my main goal for this podcast stream.
Okay. It's harder than people realize, putting on that entrepreneur hat. What's the biggest leadership lesson technology people struggle with?
Adapt to the situation, right? So I started more companies, more. So the biggest drawback for me, right? So if I think idea is good, so I'll venture on that idea. But a later point of I realized it's not my cup of tea. I made wrong decision. But I'm getting the learning, but I invested so much money, energy on that instead of focusing on wrong idea. So we should really focus on one core idea. It's my biggest learning in all these years, and even in my town hall meetings, my leadership team, they used to say, focus. So now, my everything, now my mantra is like, focus, don't deviate. So work on one idea. Once it is mature, maybe we can go for other ideas. Focus is the main mantra.
Okay. Getting a little more philosophical now. Your book title, "Thinking in Toilet," right? Definitely grabs attention. What was the deeper idea behind it?
Yeah, that was my first book. And after that, I wrote 2 books about AI. Everything is available on Amazon. It's Thinking in Toilet, right? I used to get, no, not used to, still I'm getting a lot of ideas when I'm in toilet, right?
Okay.
So even the BookMyIyer concept or, what are the new ideas coming, everything, it's not only for me, I believe, a lot of folks, they get a lot of ideas from toilet. And, I wanted to regularize that, so my thought, like, how we can leverage the 10 minutes in toilet instead of taking the cell phone to the toilet and
Right.
so Instagram or
Some
Twitter
people have their best ideas in the shower, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Without all the constant stimulation.
Exactly. Yeah. So in the 10 minutes, I want to put the agenda for a day, right? So is there, okay, the first thing, what are my top pending items for the day, and then the follow-ups, any customer follow-ups or any invoice follow-ups. Then I want to utilize that 10 minutes time in the toilet so to plan our day. So that's the motivation of that book team.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, a lot of people I think get in the rat race and they're just very reactive to everything that happens to them. I mean, I'm guilty of that. I try to put off my email as long as possible in the day because one of my friends told me years ago that email was other people's priorities. Get caught just trying to answer everything and help everybody else. And if you're not intentional with your own schedule.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
Okay, so. So for young professionals entering tech right now, what skills then and what ways can they be using AI to to become technically stronger, entrepreneurially as well as technically, I guess.
Yeah. So first thing, right? If this generation, if they want to be an entrepreneur, so don't commit into major commitments like mortgage or anything. So if your hands are tied up, we need financial independence. Otherwise we cannot take risk. If there is no mortgage commitment or any education loan commitments or hands are not tied. So if we have that financial freedom, whatever we think we can do. So first, take if your goal is to start business or some if you have some ideas, so instead of committing to some long-term financial thing, maybe you can focus on your ideas. That's my first advice I went to them. And leverage AI as much as possible. So the thing, right? So assume I want to start a company here, LLC in USA. So instead of finding an attorney appointment and making them, paying for an attorney, finding their slot, now we have a ChatGPT, Gemini, we have everything. One thing? So I talk with ChatGPT every day, not every day, maybe every hour I interact with ChatGPT. ChatGPT is my second wife. It knows me better than my wife, actually. ChatGPT knows about me, it's better than my wife. So it's my mentor, whether I can do this. Okay, I have a podcast today, so can I go with this blue colored blazer, or this shirt is good. I ask everything with that, and you don't believe it or not, it is helping me a lot. The ChatGPT,
Right.
it is helping it, and it knows my history, right? So maybe I am interacting with ChatGPT more than 1.5 years. So he what kind of person I am. He knows it knows about me, everything. So based on that, it is giving me suggestions, right? So okay,
Right.
so I was a little bit deviated. So we have to leverage AI. Assume the life cycle of business, right? Sales, marketing, then lead generation, and converting that lead to business, and then operations and post sales, maybe customer engagement. So I can split it into these categories, the life cycle of business, right? So sales, lead generation to closing your lead, and engagement after, even after closing the lead, how, engagement. So how we can leverage AI for this entire life cycle, right? So in the earlier days, to post in Instagram or Facebook post, we need a designer to design some promotional content or anything, right? Now we have Gemini, or we have Canva. So there is something called Canva AI. If you prompt anything, right, so it will generate image for you. So I forgot to mention one of my close friend is in Phoenix. His name is Jason. He's running a vegan kitchen. Kitchen business. He's an award-winning chef. So at least every month we used to interact how we can leverage AI for this business. I tell him, right, so instead of having a designer for you, try yourself. Try prompt like, so June month I'm planning to promote mushroom burger with a 10% coupon code. Can you give a design for me to upload in Facebook or Instagram? They can try, right? So so that is one kind of content creation. AI is very useful nowadays, and for marketing, right? So assume if I'm running my vegan food business, kitchen business, right? So I can ask Gemini, so find my competitors maybe in 10 miles of radius, and what keywords they're using, how much price they're charging. So accordingly, maybe I can strategize my business, right? So otherwise, we need to hire a person and they need to roam each restaurant or finding the price. Instead of that, we have everything in handy, right? So I can ask Gemini, so this is my, burger, mushroom burger. So I'm planning to charge $10. So is it good, or how much the competitors are charging? We can do those strategies. What kind of keywords we should use for our Google SEO or Google Ads? So we can utilize Gemini for that, right? And yeah, so this is about all lead generation, right? Once getting the lead, converting the lead, it's about the quality and price. Again, the pricing for sure. the AI will help ChatGPT or Gemini. We can analyze our product price with our competitors. And once we onboard the customer, then operations starts, right? Assume having an e-commerce website, so maybe we can have a chat bot. So engagement. Customer engagement is more important. If I'm visiting a website, so it should ask, so promotional offer is going for, mushroom burger. Do you want to try? In the chat, maybe we can show, and if I press yes, we can give me some coupon code. The engagement is second part, and automating, so and so date and time, this delivery person, he'll be delivering your product. So we need to automate the flow, the manual process using AI, so we can automate. That's something called Zapier framework, and a lot is going. There is something called the open claw, so it can read your email, it can read your messages, and if you're getting an order, maybe we can automate that. Once you receive a SMS message, order is received for a burger or whatsoever, right? So you can read that message, and you can automate that. You can create an order in your inventory, or we can automate the entire flow using AI.
Right.
Yeah, and even after sales, right? We can use AI for sending newsletters, the engagement. So the complete life cycle we can cover using AI.
Right. Re-engagement. You can get your reviews. You can send out coupons they can share with their friends, and easy ways to post and share and grow.
And more interestingly, right? So now there is something called 11 Labs, right? So they're providing fantastic voice features. And maybe I'm calling a business, and I'm asking, your burger is not good, so you charge too much. So it can analyze my tone, voice. It can analyze the sentiment of the talk and the speech, and it will provide feedback to the owner. So instead of manually, this customer is not satisfied, instead of that, so we can grab the sentiment analysis from the voice or text. This without AI we cannot think about those, right? So
more detailed feedback and more actionable steps. You raised some good points there with. AI is not just a search engine, an information grabber, or a production organizer type thing. It's actually can be a teacher, It can be a therapist. It can be a mentor. It can you can, and it can be an agent. It can take actions on your behalf. And
exactly right. So and the other thing, right? So we should run business for the next generation. The legacy way of running business, those days are gone. So, now the drone making deliveries, we should think about the next generation, the Gen Z thoughts, right? Even my daughter, she's in 6th grade. So she is using ChatGPT. She's asking ChatGPT, can you give me notes for this song? Music notes. She's asking ChatGPT. So we should think about the next generation, how they will use the system tomorrow, right? We should think in that perspective instead of the legacy way of doing business. So we should really migrate to the next generation thoughts.
Right. Those are all going to be important daily habits, whether you're in the bathroom or not, right? For helping to stay innovative.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
So, what do you, Mani? What are you most excited about in building next?
Yeah, so you mean the AI in okay, I don't much I don't sorry for that. So my personal thing, I'm doing some research R&D, just like you, right? You hold a PhD, right? So I don't have a PhD degree, but I'm writing a lot of research, and I'm submitting my journals in IEEE and the other journals. My goal is like maybe next few years, maybe if possible, I'm finding for the PhD. I like to enroll for a PhD course, and once things are settled, maybe I can be a full-time entrepreneur soon. Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah,
excellent.
and I am building a lot of AI products, right? So in US we have STEM teacher shortage, right? So I'm building an AI product. Assume you have a hologram projector in front of you, right?
Okay.
And that projector, it's you are interacting with the teacher through hologram projector. I am building that actually. There's something called Polaroid.ai. It is the prototype is almost ready, so I'm giving demo to some investors and my circle, so student can interact with the virtual teacher, and they can ask any questions and they can lively interact. At the same time, it is like age appropriate. If my sixth grade daughter, if she is asking how to make a atom bomb, it won't answer, right? So the age appropriate content it will give. So I'm working on that, and I want to utilize the same platform for other ecosystem, other business too. For example, right? So attorney, right? So if I'm looking for an attorney, and we can ask a list of questions, and the attorney can answer virtually, maybe instead of hologram projector, right, through some website. So the attorney can talk to the end user, and we can make appointment. It's a kind of lead generation tool for attorneys. So maybe if I'm asking any immigration questions or anything, right, so the attorney can answer, and I can make appointment through the platform. So I'm exposing the various use cases for this tool. That is one thing. And I have another tool, right? I was talking about the voice, the phone call, right? So I'm trying to automate the phone call to business, for example. So I'm ordering a burger, right? I'm calling to the business. I'm asking, this is my order ID. Can you tell me where the shipment is? Then it can tell you, okay, so it is in this location. The estimated delivery time is so and so. I'm trying to automate the voice with the application. So I'm working on some solution on that. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Regarding the topic of prosperity and ensuring future success, as an entrepreneur, I imagine your answer to the question of what is your ideal investment is probably another business, right? You want to keep growing your next project.
Yes. Yeah. Ideas and innovation, right? So it's more than that. In overnight, we cannot expect a big success. Overnight success is a scam, right? So to this generation, if you have some idea, you will have to at least spend at least 3 hours a day. Now, in overnight, a plant, it will not become a tree, right? You'll have to pour water every day. So at least 3 hours we'll have to spend for our idea. Then for sure we can see a difference. Maybe every 3 months you can review yourself. We can review ourselves where we are before 3 months and how I am now. So daily at minimum 3 hours we should spend for our ideas, and then we'll have to self-review. Every quarter we'll have to self-review where we are now.
Okay. Excellent, Mani. So as we wrap things up here, I was wondering if you had any big initiatives for the rest of 2026. Anything exciting in particular coming up?
Yeah. So as I said, right. So I am building up a lot of AI products. I am looking for investors. Then maybe in my goal for next 2 years. As I said, right, the next 2 years will be the golden opportunity for all. Right, since we have AI, whatever we can think, we can make it real. Since we have AI, so my goal, I have my list of to-do lists with me. One, the BookMyIyer, using AI, building that BookMyIyer for next generation. It is in my pipeline, and other my AI projects. I'm really working hard. So my focus is on to grab more customers for my products next 2 years.
Okay, yeah, grow the ecosystem. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'd also like to circle back to what you said earlier about being in the bathroom, because I think that's going to be one of the most important things for people moving forward is curiosity. And if they're never bored, they never unplug and let their mind process the things that it's capable of. They're going to not create; they're going to just consume. And I think that being intentional about that, I think is gold. I think it's going to be super valuable for people.
Yeah, it is okay to fail, right? We can attempt some multiple ideas. It is okay to fail, but move on. If one idea is failed, it's okay. You can, I failed in so many things, but I just keep moving. So I will ignore those failures. I will put the lessons, whatever the failed lessons, I'll put into my new ideas. And now I'm 200% confident with my ideas nowadays because of my past failures.
Right. Yeah. You fail forward.
Yeah.
So Mani, if people would like to connect with you and learn more about what you're doing, where can they find you?
Yeah. So I really like to small business people. And if you want to learn about AI for your business, you can reach me at me at manikandanc.com. It's my email ID. Maybe I can text you.
Sure.
You can. Yeah.
Put it in the show notes and share it.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening and watching. Thank you very much. Manikandan Chandran.
Yeah.
I hope I got that right.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Thank you.
Thank you
for sharing.
Having me. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing your story.
Yeah. Thank you.
Inspired by our guests? Visit phoenixprosperitypodcast.com/guest and join us on the show and share your success story with Tim. The spotlight awaits.